University of Cincinnati health physicians treating Damar Hamlin are speaking about his condition after he collapsed during a Buffalo Bills game. Let's listen in.
Including on-field paramedics, airway management physicians, and respiratory therapists. Dr. Timothy Pritz is a trauma surgeon and serves as a professor in the Department of Surgery at the University of Cincinnati College of Medicine and the Division Chief of General Surgery. I'm going to hand our beginning comments over to Dr. Pritz so he can begin to share the current medical condition of Damar Hamlin. Dr. Pritz.
Good afternoon, everybody, and greetings from the University of Cincinnati Medical Center. It's our privilege today to meet with you. And Dr. Knight and I are representing the many individuals and teams that have helped care for Mr. Hamlin since the on-field event on Monday night. We would like to share that there has been substantial improvement in his condition over the past 24 hours. We had significant concern about him after the injury and after the event that happened on the field, but he is making substantial progress. As of this morning, he is beginning to awaken, and it appears that his neurological condition and function is intact. We are very proud to report that, very happy for him and for his family and for the Buffalo Bills organization that he is making improvement. He continues to be critically ill and continues to undergo intensive care in our surgical and trauma ICU. He's being cared for by ICU, neurocritical care teams, trauma surgery, and a cardiology team, as well as our expert nurses and respiratory therapists. They are attending to him, and he still has significant progress that he needs to make, but this marks a really good turning point in his ongoing care.
We are happy to entertain some questions, and I believe representatives from the Buffalo Bills are going to help facilitate those for us.
There's 31 questions in the chat.
Yeah, we can't see the chat, but
Dr. Pritz and Dr. Knight, we really appreciate
Cameron Wolf will be first.
Dr. Pritz, Dr. Knight, this is Cameron Wolf with NFL Network. We really appreciate you spending some time with us and sharing some updates here. If possible, can you take us through the timeline from when Damar arrived in your care to where we are now, as far as what you guys did with his recovery and where that progress in specific is?
do that with the person who just posed the last question.
Did I come through clearly there?
Nope. Can you try again?
Yes, apologies. First of all, appreciate you, Dr. Pritz and Dr. Knight, for your time and your care in this situation. This is Cameron Wolf with NFL Network. Just wanted to inquire if you can take us through the timeline from when Damar came into your care and to where he is now, as far as what you guys have done to get him to this significant improvement stage.
Sure, and thanks for being here today. What I can tell you is that our team involved a significant number of the care team involved in helping with Mr. Hamlin on the field on Monday night. He was attended to by 4 of our emergency physicians serving in the various roles as the airway physician, the visiting team medical liaison, a neurotrauma consultant, as well as one of the team physicians for the Cincinnati Bengals. As everybody knows, Mr. Hamlin suffered a cardiac arrest on the field, and it was promptly recognized by the Buffalo Bills medical staff, and that allowed for a very immediate resuscitation on the field. He was promptly resuscitated. It did require CPR and defibrillation, and at which point he was transported to the University of Cincinnati Medical Center, where he was met by Dr. Pritz and the trauma team, as well as our emergency medicine colleagues. He was managed and resuscitated and worked up in the emergency department, had some additional tests in the ED and in the hospital, and then has been managed in the surgical ICU, as Dr. Pritz said. It's been a long and difficult road for the last 3 days. He has been very sick and has made a fairly remarkable recovery and improvement to the point, as Tim noted, he is now demonstrating that sign of good neurologic recovery, as well as overall clinical improvement, as has been previously reported, related to not just his vital signs, but a lot of his other individual organ recovery.
Doctor, this is Thad Brown from WROC Television in Rochester, New York. Again, like Cameron said, thank you very much for your time and all the work that you've done with this. Can you speak at all to the cause of what happened? What caused the cardiac arrest? And I think specifically, was it simply the actions that happened on the field, or was there something existing that, made Mr. Hamlin, something that might be susceptible to this happening?
The answer to that is that workup is ongoing. We do not have definitive answers as to the etiology of the arrest at this time, and that tests will continue to be ongoing as he continues to progress.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Dr. Knight and Dr. Pritz. This is Matt Bove with WKBW in Buffalo, New York. As everybody has also said, thank you for everything that you guys have done. I know you briefly mentioned it to Cameron's question about what the timeline was like. But can you guys go into a little bit more detail or explain how critical those first moments were on the fields to ultimately get him to this point, and what the doctors and the medical staff from the Bills and Bengals were able to accomplish in that period?
Sure. I think it just speaks really to the immediate recognition that there was something significantly and seriously wrong by the Bills medical staff. Team and I speak together, we cannot credit their team enough. There are often, unfortunately, there are injuries occasionally that happen on sports fields, be it football or others. But it is incredibly rare to have something be this serious that happens like that. And to be that quickly recognized, what they did was immediately marshal the emergency action plan, meaning the emergency medicine services. That prompted the airway physician, the emergency physician that was out on the field, to be at his bedside in less than a minute. He had a prompt recognition of loss of pulse, which gave him immediate bystander CPR, which, as many of you know, rarely, if ever, happens. And so the fact that Mr. Hamlin had immediate bystander CPR, in addition to prompt recognition of his arrhythmia, to get defibrillated and then back to the return of circulation very quickly, that speaks to that timeline that you were asking about, to get the return of spontaneous circulation with immediate bystander CPR that was performed well, all meeting the standard of what we would expect in that scenario, is what has led us to be able to discuss these good outcomes today.
I will second that.
We've been listening to physicians at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center providing an update on Buffalo Bills defensive back Damar Hamlin. Some very positive news that he's showing some substantial improvement over the last 24 hours. He's beginning to awaken. His neurological function is intact. He continues to be critically ill, but still under intensive care. But this is marking a good point in his recovery.